One ongoing debate in the Newcastle fan community is this massive Dubravka versus Nick Pope. Who should start in the cup final? Who should start the rest of our season? Well, most people have one answer, but I've got some stats and some evidence that proves that maybe one isn't that better in a lot of things than what we might think. It's all coming up, Newcastle fans, so do us a favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black White Banter, ladies and gentlemen. Are you nervous? Are you nervous? It is cup final week, and my God, just saying those words out loud gets me nervous. But one big debate going into this cup final that was exactly the same debate as we just beat West Ham. Lovely 3 points, by the way. I've done a YouTube short if you want to see my match reaction to that one, because I wasn't able to go down. I'm here, there and everywhere this week. Cheltenham, Nottingham, you name it, before I go down to London at the weekend. But Nick Pope and Martin Dubravka is becoming the debate on social media that is starting to bore me. There's always one. For a while it was like, did you rate Rafa Benitez's time at Newcastle? Do you not? Then there was the whole Eddie Howe in, Eddie Howe out. There is always a debate that continues to split the fan base. But with this one, I say it bores me, I understand. Martin Dubravka did very little wrong in our recent winning run when we won 11 games on the belt. He signed a new contract when we needed him to, and not leave us in the lurch to go to Saudi Arabia, and then he's dropped. His missus has put all over her Instagram that she's not very happy about it. I think she put life sometimes just isn't fair, and there will be an extremely bitter taste in his mouth that something he did not expect was to suddenly be back on the substitutes bench, and I feel for the guy. I've got my own feelings about Martin Dubravka, because I can be quite a cynical fan. We all have our flaws about how he treated us when he left to go to Man United and the things he did after that. But that's water under the bridge. He has been good for us and he did contribute to a great run. Nick Pope has come back in, and I cannot start this video on some of these stats without pointing out that Nick Pope has looked incredibly nervous and not really the same goalkeeper that was so instrumental in getting us not just the Champions League season, even the season after last year when we finished, when we just missed out on European football thanks to a FA Cup shocked win by Man United. He's been very good, but since he seems to have had this injury, it's just knocked him for six. But what I noticed about Nick Pope on Monday, worryingly with 6 days to a cup final, is the level of nerves. His face when he gave the ball away and kicked it out, he looked very unhappy with himself, he looked disappointed with himself, and he just looked like a player who is not playing for that place with confidence, like a player who knows what people are talking about on social media and is still trying to find his feet, but do it as quickly as possible. We all know that when Nick Pope has the football at his feet, we all get nervous. He looks like someone to me who did not grow up playing football, and I can't deny that, and I won't deny that. But as shot stopping, he's done us pretty well. But Martin Dubravka is the man on many Newcastle fans' lips that most want to see in the team. But if I asked you, and I want you to be honest, every Newcastle fan watching this, why you want Martin Dubravka back in, I can probably guarantee that first thing you would say would be because he's a much better passer of the ball, he's more comfortable with the ball at his feet. But what do the stats say? I've done a lot of digging into these stats, mainly passing stats, to have a look how Martin Dubravka and Nick Pope compare with a little closer magnifying glass on them. And honestly, I was astounded. I am not recording this video to catch anyone out or make anyone feel stupid, because some of these stats blew my mind. Now, the ones I'm going to share on the screen now are the passing distances, the attempted passes over 3 distances, short, medium and long, which is categorised into distance away from the goal. Now, I will say, before you look at any of these, Nick Pope has played 8 more matches than Martin Dubravka, but the percentages are based off the pass succession completion, basically going to a player, compared to the amount of matches they've played. So the percentage matches up just to that individual player and how much they've had. And look at the percentages. Martin Dubravka is winning by the most minuscule of percent, 97%, 98%, and then long passes where you're not expecting those numbers to be high, 39 to 41. My mind is blown. So what this tells me is that Martin Dubravka, first and foremost, look, he does play a lot of short passes. He is more comfortable with the ball at his feet, and we know that. Nick Pope doesn't like it there. Martin Dubravka is happy to receive it and just play it on. But in terms of pass completion, there's very, very, very little between these two goalkeepers. And this one I'm sure Newcastle's training ground looks at these stats in a lot more detail, week after week after week, with the technology that we have. This one blew my mind. So maybe, just maybe, their passing in terms of accuracy to go to one of our players Nick Pope's isn't as bad as what we thought, and maybe Martin Dubravka's isn't as clear of Nick Pope as what we definitely all thought. But now let's look a little bit closer at the passes as a whole. This is every single pass in the 24-25 season from both players, short, medium and long. And again, there is only a 10%, not even, less than 10% difference in the success rate of those passes. I genuinely thought when I looked at these numbers that they were going to prove that Martin Dubravka is an absolute passing god compared to Mr. Nick Pope, who looks like he gets spaghetti legs when he receives the football. So this one's blown my mind, but this has given me some food for thought when it's very, very easy with the emotion in football, when we're watching it, to go to the easy thing that Nick Pope gives the ball away every single opportunity. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't, Newcastle fans. And let me know in the comments whether that one blows your mind as much as it did me. And also let me know whether this one's caught you off guard, because I know how some of you people in the comments refuse to admit when something has shocked you or maybe made you change your mind on something a little bit. Anyway, though, let's look at the more important thing for goalkeepers that gets forgotten in the modern game. Let's look at the two of them on saves made this season. That's right, this should be the bread and butter of what we are talking about with goalkeepers, the same as a striker should be judged on scoring goals. But unfortunately, the debate we are all having with these two keepers is which one is going to retain that football more in a match to the level of Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. But let's talk about the saves they make. Well, look, Martin Dubravka's numbers are massively affected by that amazing run we're on. And I don't think these figures are a true reflection of a lot of things. And the reason I say that is because Martin Dubravka, to all extent and purposes, I know he won save of the month against Wolves, but nobody watching this video can tell me that he was tested that much when we beat Leicester 4-0, when we beat Man United 2-0 away from home, when we went to Tottenham and won 2-1. He wasn't getting peppered with shots because we went through a really solid spell, one of our best spells I've ever known of my lifetime, and I think we would all agree that he didn't have too much to do. And I think if you ask Martin Dubravka, he would probably say the same thing. And I think he did recently say it in an interview that he was thanking his defenders for not giving him too much to do and getting them clean sheets along the way. So, of course, Nick Pope has played 8 more matches. He's conceded 26 goals. Dubravka's conceded 12 in his matches. But again, if we look at the save percentages, of course, Nick Pope has made more because he's played more games with 83. But the save percentage is very, very, very close. So what I was gobsmacked at with these figures, and this is after the West Ham game as well, can I just add, is that these two goalkeepers, when it comes to passing and saving shots, are literally neck and neck. Now, normally you would expect a goalkeeper coming in or a goalkeeper who, to a lot of fans' eyes, has stood out. You'd expect there to be a gulf. You'd expect there to be a 30% difference or a 25% difference in at least one of these stats. Well, what I've managed to dig out, honestly, even as I'm saying it out loud, my mind is still blown, is that these two, on short, medium and long passes and saves, pretty much fighting for that number one spot in every stat you can get. But look, Newcastle fans, I do want to know your thoughts down below. This is a short and snappy video because I thought these stats might blow your mind. Who would I go with in the cup final? Well, I'm going to be doing a video with that in the next 2 to 3 days on who my cup final team is. And it's very difficult, and I'm going to sit and run the numbers on how I think we can beat Liverpool. Who do I think should play in goal from this video alone? Because this is the topic. I think after watching Nick Pope on Monday look so short of confidence, I would have to say Martin Dubravka. Which goalkeeper do I think makes an incredible save in the last minute when you're in a cup final? Probably is Nick Pope. And I know he does look a little bit different since his injury, but in terms of how we want to play and retain that football against one of the best teams in the world, Martin Dubravka is going to have to get my vote this time because he's so much more assured at the moment, and Nick Pope looks incredibly rusty. But I don't think Eddie Howe is going to go that. He seems to prefer Nick Pope. We do have to have faith that he sees these two goalkeepers go against each other in training every single week. Not just what we see on the pitch. He sees a hell of a lot more. But whoever it is, we're going to back him and back him to the till. But let me know whether these stats have absolutely blown your mind, because they certainly have me. And maybe it just gives you a bit of food for thought. The food in the shape of a Carabao Cup final shaped dirty mince pie. Oh, God. Is anyone else nervous? Is anyone else nervous? Thanks for watching anyway, Newcastle fans. Get Black and White Banter across all social media. Drop us a like, drop us a follow, drop us a subscribe, and I'll see you down at London at the weekend. How are you, lads?